If you've ever wanted to play the Devil's Advocate in D&D, you can literally do so with this homebrew race.
Today we're discussing imps. Welcome to the Homebrew Crew. I'm Tony, this is Sean, and today we are talking about those devilish little advocates, the imps.
Yes, now you've probably fought these little creatures in your D&D campaign. Now, typically these are kind of lower NPCs. These are things that you kind of probably fight at maybe level 1 as like a boss, but after a while they become these kind of little annoying creatures.
Absolutely. Now, the thing is with Avernus coming out very, very soon, we thought it would be a good idea to review some of these devils and little things, and we even found a playable race for you guys today.
Yeah, and this is the first time we've actually found something off of Reddit. We actually found this off of the Homebrew Reddit page from user Krumpits, and they made a Homebrew link for it. So the Imp race is kind of cool because it basically borrows a lot of things that you've seen from like the NPC version, but it's been nicely balanced and watered down a little bit with some options if you do want to kind of go full Imp on your player character.
Which is kind of cool because you kind of have to look at these guys and they have a lot of really nifty abilities. Usually they're hanging out on the shoulder of an evil wizard.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of wringing their hands or what have you. But imps, by nature, are out there to actually entice people to make bad decisions so that they wind up in the nine hells.
Exactly. So going into the race itself, you do get +2 to dexterity and +1 to charisma,
which makes sense. They're very charismatic, those little guys.
Yeah, exactly. And you're going to be considered small. So kind of imagine yourself as like a slightly bigger, maybe chunkier imp, if you want to call it that way.
a thick imp.
A thick imp, yes, exactly.
He's thick. Okay, good. That's fine.
You do get a speed of 25, walking speed only. You don't get flying speed off the bat.
And we'll discuss that in a few minutes, too, when we go over the racial traits and the feats. But in addition to that, I thought this was a cool thing with it, is they get Devil's Sight, which means, you know, how normally darkness, you can see through it if you've got dark vision. Devil's Sight allows you to be able to see through magical
darkness. Yeah, so that's pretty major. Not a lot of characters or abilities allow you to do that. So if someone casts darkness, usually you're kind of SOL. Here, I mean, it's nice because the actual NPC of the Imp does have this. It's nice to have it as a player feature. And you get hellish resistance. You actually get resistance to fire damage.
Now, the cool thing about this one, and the one that I really like, and I like how they tone this down a little bit, is they get the shape changer trait. Now, this is essentially polymorph, but watered down.
Yeah, because the NPC Imp can also use the same ability, but as an Imp race, you can still polymorph into a rat, a raven, or a spider. And then you kind of borrow the same statistics. Anything that you're wearing kind of changes with you. And then, of course, if you get like squashed in that form, you do return back as your Imp form. But it's nice because this is super useful. Well, first of all, a lot of people, they don't really see the potential in a rat or a spider, but there's a lot of stuff you can do as that creature.
You go unnoticed by things.
Absolutely,
you know, like you know, the orc are not going to pay attention to the rats. There's rats all the time in orc caves and things like that. But let's get into the racial feats on this. So essentially, because imps have things like barbed tails and wings and magic resistance, things like that, instead of making those set traits, this author decided to make them feats.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense because essentially if you got every single ability that the Imp would have, that would actually kind of make this really unbalanced. You'd have way too many awesome abilities. And the nice thing is that these feats, like, yes, you are foregoing that ability score improvement, but these feats are actually really good. I mean, magical resistance gives you advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. The demon wings give you 60 feet of flying speed. Now, keep in mind, you can't wear any heavy armor, but it's still, like, that's a really good amount of speed. And then barbed tail essentially gives you an extra attack. So besides dealing that extra piercing damage, you can even deal an additional 3d6 poison damage on top of that. So it's like all these are really nice little features that are very beneficial if you decide to forego the ability score improvement.
Right, and I would say thematically with it, if you're looking at it as playing an imp, that you would still have your tail and your wings. You just don't use them, is the way I would look at it. You know, it's just kind of like things that your devil decided when you're up there, don't fly around.
Yeah, or don't poke anybody with that tail, you know.
Right, exactly. Now, this opens up the door to so many different demonic, I want to say devilish races.
Yes.
Because that's actually the truth of this. That they're going to be coming out and things like that with Avernus. There's nothing really official in the book that's coming out race-wise, but there are 37 new monsters that are coming out.
Yeah, so I mean, if you decide, of course, to allow homebrew stuff while you're playing through Avernus, this can really kind of open up a lot of potential for storytelling devices, for certain moments that happen in the campaign, and not to mention that even if you're not playing through Avernus, if you're in any kind of homebrew setting and you decide to play an imp, there's a lot of implications you have to consider if you decide to play one. Yes,
Seriously? Implications? Oh, boy. I'm losing my game here.
I know.
I'm usually the one.
I didn't even mean to do that one.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of implications to consider if you decide to play an imp. These are typically lawful evil creatures. Now, of course, it would make sense to kind of follow suit with that, but maybe you don't want to follow that,
I don't think that's even an option. A good
How
imp.
adorable would it be if you played this sweet little imp that wanted to convert you over to
Not in my game. Not in my game. No sweet imps anywhere. Although I would have one act sweet and really he be like
for the
pulling
sake
the strings,
of right,
pulling the strings behind the actions. If you steal that old lady's apple, she won't eat a worm accidentally. You're still committing the act of stealing, so it's still going to get you down to the 9 hells. But I could see how.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fun stuff that you could totally do with this if you choose to play as an imp. And like we said, for the upcoming Avernus adventure, I think this will actually be a really cool decision if you decide to include this in your upcoming adventure if you want to try it out.
Absolutely. Now, if you've got something on Reddit or anywhere else that you'd like us to review, send it right down here at dmbrewcrew@gmail.com. We'd be happy to review it for you. And of course, we've got our bi-weekly stream, The Maw.
Yeah, so you might actually see playable homebrew races like the Imp being playtested live on the stream itself. We do stream every other Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time, so if you want to see some of your own creations or other people's creations, check it out.
And remember, the best campaigns are always the ones that are homebrewed, and sometimes the ones that the devil made you do it. So until next time,
keep brewing.